session. Just get us started with the big wins. We'll start with that.
Big wins. Big wins were this week and last week. Frankly, we passed the first round of constitutional amendments to protect taxpayers. We passed a constitutional amendment that would enshrine our flat tax that will be fully implemented here in a couple of years. And then we passed a constitutional amendment that would require a 2/3 majority to increase taxes. So big wins for taxpayers, I think, are the biggest wins that I've seen coming out of this session. For the long term, Oliver, those are generational. They're institutional changes, because when you put it in the Constitution, then when we get some big spending legislature and governor, in the future, they can't just go in there and willy-nilly raise taxes on Iowans. We're keeping that money with you guys unless there's a good, solid reason for it.
Yay!
All right. Lower taxes, we like that. Anything else? Is that it?
I mean, so there were a lot of big
We
ones.
changed our Constitution.
And I see these guys walking in, and we haven't changed it yet. You got to do 2 general assemblies, and then the people have to vote on it. We got some big wins for affordable housing in the state. Housing is a huge issue, and we had a stormwater bill that passed that keeps those rules standard across the state, so developers don't have to worry about some local government coming in and telling them and increasing their cost, $20 a square foot just because they want a different standard for stormwater, and the vinyl siding bill, which allows homeowners to keep vinyl siding on their house. Vinyl siding is an affordable way for folks to build a home, and you guys hate that down there?
Yeah, David.
Sorry, David. It sucks to be you. I still like you anyway. But keeping housing affordable, especially out where I live, where developers don't want to come anyway, just because it's not as lucrative. I live south, right? So the only part of Dallas County I have is a really rural part of Dallas County around DeSoto. And you can't convince somebody. I live in Wayne County.
Woo!
Any of my developers going to come to Wayne County to build houses? No. And so the more we do that increases the cost of developing housing in Wayne County, it just exacerbates the problem that already exists. And so those are a couple of things that really will work to keep housing costs down for Iowans as we're trying to get people to move to the state and live and work and raise their families. And by golly, with those taxes, we're doing that. Yeah. Iowa's now, can we brag for a minute?
Sure.
Can we brag for a minute? Guys, under Republican trifecta, Iowa's now ranked in the top 10 in so many categories of things that are great. I can't even begin to describe it. We're ranked as one of the top states for retiring, one of the top states for healthcare. I think number 2 or number 3 in our healthcare system. We're ranked as one of the top states for young families. We're ranked as one of the top states for home ownership, for entrepreneurs. We are the place where people are coming. We don't have mountains, we don't have beaches, we don't have warm weather, but what we do have is a predictable government that keeps taxes low and puts individual liberties first. And guys, that's bringing people here, and it's making Iowa the best place to live, work, and raise a family.
Fantastic. You can donate to her campaign at
I do have an opponent this year, so if anybody wants to door knock down in DeSoto with me, I'll take you.
All right. Fantastic. Jesse, what were some of the big wins? First of all, Senator Green, what district are you in, and what are some of the cities, and what part of Dallas County is in your district?
Yeah, so thanks for putting us on. Thanks for coming out tonight. Dallas County is definitely one of the most active counties, and what a contrast to the Democrats. There's actually a couple counties with Democrats that they're shutting down their committees, so because they don't have any enthusiasm or motivation. So that's
the most recent one?
Ida Grove, I think, or Ida County.
Ida County no longer has a Democratic Central Committee.
Yep.
Wow.
So,
I didn't know that.
So my district, though, to your question, sorry to dodge your question, is just north and west of here. I represent Boone County, Greene, Guthrie, a quarter of Dallas, which includes Perry, Boone, Jefferson. Those are the big communities in that district. So I farm up by Webster County. So in redistricting, I lost Webster and Hamilton, so I moved further south. But from a 30,000-foot view, I was really proud that we were able to get some sort of ADA bill done. That was a tough issue, very tough issue. And when I came into the legislature, I knew that to be a Republican, you better believe in life, you better believe in school choice, and you better believe in the Second Amendment and protect those things and fight for those things. And so when I saw the governor's AEA bill and how the Senate and the House and the governor were kind of on different pages, I'm like, how is this going to come together? You know, especially on such a sensitive issue as AEAs, because it's not like it's a platform issue. Like you're talking about a subcategory of education here. And so when I saw the division on that issue, I'm like, I don't think we're going to get anything done. And then for us to actually come together and get something done, I thought was truly remarkable and telling of the legislature and of the Iowa Republican Party. We're not afraid of a fight. And to me, the thing I'm really proud of is that we all saw that there was some sort of problem in the system. When we directly pay AAs and mandate that the schools get the services from those AEAs, that is going to be ripe for inflated costs. I have one superintendent in my district that said he got charged $120,000 for special education services for one student. Did you hear that in the news? No.
Right.
I hear it.
Yeah.
And that gave me the motivation to be like, something's wrong here and I need to do something. Well, as free market Republicans, what's the answer? You incentivize the customer to pay, at least write a check for the services so they know what they're getting. And in this situation, it's the school districts that are receiving those services. So we're going to have a better educated school board, which keep in mind we have 320 of them. I trust them to make the decisions on which providers are best for them. And that's going to shed light into the system and see where we can be more efficient with that system. And so I'm really grateful that the House and Senate came together with something, and we're moving in the right direction. Was it perfect in my standpoint? No, I think the House ruined it a little bit. But nevertheless, we're in a better position today than we were yesterday. And so for that, I'm grateful for my House colleagues and the Republican Party of Iowa. For me personally, one bill.
I'm going to pause you for a minute.
Yeah.
This is a free-form conversation, so
Yeah.
I want to let Dan, Representative Gelbach, rebuttal that comment about the House messing it up.
We love our friends over in the upper chamber, and these guys have done a lot of good work, and especially on taxes and setting us up. And as the lone member on the House Education Committee, because Representative Sorensen left us this year now to go to Commerce. So we have Senator Green's Representative Thompson, Bill Thompson from Boone County that is on our committee now, and they swapped out. But I'm proud of the work the House Education Committee did with the governor and with the Senate to get something across the finish line. We heard a lot of constituents. We heard the message that slowed us down, talked to people. We brought AEA chiefs in, we brought in superintendents, and the one superintendent at the public hearing that we ran on the House side that was against the legislation was actually from my district, Woodward Granger. We've had an open dialogue, and we've had them in the building and in the conversation the whole time to make sure we're listening to their needs. But in the Heartland we're in the Heartland AEA, and I just got to point this fact out. They receive, the whole system is over $500 million, but the Heartland AEA is the largest in the state, and they have a $133 million operating budget. All the employees in the Heartland AEA collectively make $72 million. So there's a delta there, a difference of over $60 million. So it's like, where's the money going? And so we need to figure this question out. And this is going to put more transparency, better communication with the Department of Education. And really, what we had was an AEA system that was policing themselves. So they were accountable to themselves for delivering the services to the school district. And now we're going to put that extra piece of transparency and oversight into the Department of Education. I'm really impressed with the new director, Director Snow, and she got confirmed last week by our friends over there in the Senate. So I'm really excited about the future of education in Iowa. And like I say, as a freshman legislator, one of the big reasons I ran for office was to pass school choice, and that was the first vote I got to do last year, and I could drop the mic after that. But we keep on putting more wins on the board, hopefully to get a charter school bill across the finish line here in this last week. That's what Senator Sinclair and I were heatedly talking about before
we were not angry at each other.
No, we're just having good conversations. That's what it's about over and working with the other side, because we're all on the same team at the end of the day, and that's what it's about up at the legislature. So
I hope you took notes. Dan can say a lot in a little amount of time. So thank you, Dan. Go ahead, Jesse.
So on the thing with school choice, for one, the part of my motivation for running again is to defend what we've done the last 4 years. It's been so amazing, and because of school choice in this post-school choice world, when I first came into office, my phone would go off the hook over books and random teachers that were maybe going rogue and teaching stuff that we didn't agree with and stuff like that. Now in this post-school choice world, my phone is almost silent on those issues. What does that tell me? That tells me that we have a more civil society. And isn't that the goal of a legislator? Is to form policy that reflects the taxpayer dollars with their morals and ethics and beliefs. And what better policy than school choice? And so I feel like on the ballot this year, I owe it to my Republican colleagues to go defend what we've done, and I will proudly defend that. But outside the AEA bill, I'm just so proud that we were able to get something done. It's something that's going to create transparency and more accountability. And it was a really tough issue, but we got it done. And of course, who can argue with tax cuts and being responsible with your dollars? And on this side of heaven, we're always going to be fighting taxes, and we can always unite around that issue. So here at the end of session, we are uniting around sound budgeting policies and tax cuts. And so I'm confident here within the next couple of weeks, we'll all walk out of there with a victory.
Fantastic.
So I just want to put that AEA conversation into perspective, because there was a lot of pushback on that, and it wasn't necessarily a partisan pushback. We had Republicans upset about it as well as Democrats, and the rollout was clunky and all of that. I want to put something in perspective. Today, the Senate was in debate today. We kind of try and we don't always necessarily debate on the same days, because they'll send us stuff and we have to read it in, and then we do their stuff, and then we send them things and they do theirs. So, did you guys debate today? So we don't always debate on the same days, just because procedurally it makes sense for us to send things back and forth. Well, today we were debating, and one of the bills that we debated was the Department of Transportation's budget. Anybody know what the Department of Transportation's budget is? The department that's responsible for building and maintaining thousands and thousands and thousands of miles of road in the state of Iowa, keeping bridges safe, getting streets plowed, roads plowed, and do you know what that budget is?
Millions.
Less than education.
About 450 million.
Millions.
Okay, about 450 million for the Department of Transportation. Do you guys want to know what the AEA's statewide annual budget is? Over $100 million more than that.
Wow.
And no one was overseeing that. So when everybody was saying, oh, it's working just fine, nobody cares. Guys, $500 million plus, and they were guarding themselves. They were checking themselves for efficiency and effectiveness. We aren't trying to hurt kids. We aren't trying to hurt families. We're trying to make sure that we're taking care of the money that takes care of those kiddos.
Yeah.
It was shocking to me when I was sitting there in caucus and we were talking about this budget, and there we were talking about this $450 million budget, and all I could think to myself was the AEA budget is over $500 million. It's more than those bridges that we drive over every day and just anticipate are safe, right? Because we've got this department that takes care of them. It's the AEA budget alone statewide is more than the entire Department of Ag budget. The entire Department of Ag budget, which, by the way, agriculture is one of every $4. 25% of the state's revenues come directly from agriculture, and the AEA budget is more than that entire budget statewide. Of course we should take a look at it. Of course we should put some safeguards in to make sure that the work that they're doing is actually benefiting those most needy of our children. So I just wanted to put that in perspective for you since Jessica brought it up.
No, that's fantastic. I wonder if that's why they have that big building with the fountain in it that they rent out for weddings.
One of the task force items, and I know Bubba's happy with this, one of the task force items is a review of all of the properties and resources that the AEAs own, including that event center.
They shut down that fountain immediately. I can tell you that.
That's funny. All right, well, thanks so much, and we're going to move over to the House now that we've spoken with the Senate. So we'll start right here. What are the big wins? What are you looking forward to? And how's your campaign going?
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for being here today. My colleagues, thank you for every day, fighting for Iowans, and we've got some great victories out there. But our victories only exist because we have the majority. And while we have the trifecta, we've been aggressive. I like doing big and bold things. I'm not there just to punch the clock. I will say this, from my work as a U.S. congressman, I love the legislature here. First of all, I love sleeping in my own bed at night. I love the 20-minute commute. I love waking up in a community that I represent, that I don't have to leave and go states away to represent. I can be right here. And I can be in close contact with similar minds who have similar visions, and we're doing some great things. And so we're not done yet. We're gonna fight like heck this fall to make sure that we maintain our majorities, not just at the legislature, but also we need to make sure that we're helping out our federal congressional members who are running, because that matters as well as you know. And so victory today, something that we've all heard about, but we got it done. The governor signed a bill into law today regarding foreign land ownership.
Yay!
One of our planks.
That was one of our planks in Dallas
We've all
County.
heard about it, we've talked about it,
Yay.
but it brings more transparency in who is buying our land, and it gives our Attorney General more powers to do some investigative work. If there are some nefarious acts as to covering up who's buying the land, she'll find out.
That's right.
Brenna Bird will find out, believe me. One of the reasons why I ran is because at the federal level, there had been talk about school choice at the federal level. At the federal level, I didn't support school choice at the federal level. Why? Because it's a local issue.
Right.
I didn't want a new bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. dealing with school choice. I wanted that decision made right here. We did it. It's opening up so many doors for families, for opportunities for these kids to be where they need to be to get the kind of teaching they need to have to really succeed and then stay in Iowa. We talked about the AEA bill. It is incumbent upon your officials here in the legislature to make sure that we take a look at our state government programs, entities, to make sure that they're really serving Iowa, that they're not bottled up and siloed, and they're not transparent. We brought transparency to it. We involved superintendents. We made sure that with this AEA bill, we talk about local control and flexibility with education dollars. We gave that to them. They're going to know better how to serve their students than an AEA. AEA may do some great things for some kids, and I think they do, especially with special education. But there's so much more than that. And so we're empowering our school districts as well. We're rewarding our teachers finally with a pay raise. Yeah. And we are making sure that beyond what we're setting into law at $47,500 the first year, and then $50,000 the next year for base pay, there's also some supplemental funds as well to bring other teachers up to where they need to be and to retain them, and to make sure that some of the teachers who've been there a little bit longer and for a while and who may be thinking about retiring, that they stick around,
right? Because
we need them. So that's great. My grandmother was a teacher. We all teach. So when you think about great mentors in your life, I think about teachers, right?
Yeah.
Who really helped. We've been firm on life. Low taxes is a big deal right here in Iowa. Talk about bold. I mean, flat tax, 3.9%, we're on our way to, and we may go further. It all depends on how low can we go and what kind of resources we have and the timing of it all. But 3.9%, my goodness, friends, I mean, we don't have these graduated tax brackets anymore. 3.9% is all about fairness, treating every worker and family in a fair manner to say, whatever, it's going to be 3.9%. You make $1 million, 3.9%. $100,000, 3.9%. That's fair. It gets rid of class warfare. Yeah. We did something in the legislature. Remember the traffic speed camera issue? How many fans of that do we have here? We put a check on that with some accountability with local governments and with our Department of Transportation. We do that in the House.
Hey, what was the check you put on that? Do you remember any of the details of that?
Well, they have to make sure that they use it for,
Yeah.
if there are any fines, they have to use it for roads. They have to use it for transportation purposes.
Repair.
Police or roads, or firefighters as well, I believe. And so it'll stay in the community, and there'll be some accountability with it.
Was there anything for equalizing the fee across the board?
They have a fee structure that they set up.
Okay.
Yep, there's a fee structure, so.
Awesome.
Sorry, I didn't think.
No, it's good. I mean, I don't know everything.
You don't?
I know enough to be dangerous like you, Walter.
All right.
But we work together on this, and we're hoping that we can get something to the finish line. You look at some of the national issues going on out there. This will be my last point. Washington, D.C. isn't doing what they need to do to secure our borders. And we stepped up in Iowa.
Horrible.
And we made sure that those who are coming into Iowa illegally, that there are repercussions on that, and they're not good ones for those people. We don't hate anybody. I don't blame people for wanting to come to America. We're the greatest country in the world. But there's a right way and a wrong way to do it.
That's right.
And it's not that we hate anybody, we just love Americans, and we love those who obey the rule of law. So we've got some great things happening. More to come as long as we have the majority. And so I'm asking for you all this fall, for those who have races, for those who don't, make sure that you support them. I do have a primary. I'm not taking anything for granted. I've already started door knocking. I'm not going to tell you my opponent's name because I don't want to give my opponent name ID.
We know who he is.
It's an honor to serve you,
I will.
especially with these groups, with these folks, and so we couldn't do it without all you.
Quick question, David, before you pass the mic. You had a bill that was about EV, electrical, the EV tax and it affected small businesses that were giving that away. Can you mention that or the details on that?
Yeah, so people are driving electric vehicles. If they want to do that, that's great. There are some small businesses, maybe restaurants or motels or hotels or banks, who have, complimentary wise, had a EV charger, and we're giving away free power to their customers. And being that it was free, I didn't think that they should have to pay any kind of tax on that to the state, since they were giving it away for free. So,
Where is that bill at?
it made it through subcommittee. It's going to have. I'm generally an optimistic person, but I'm not optimistic about this session. But sometimes you have to start
Well,
this.
can you guys do anything about that?
Sometimes you have to plant the seeds early on.
So we do not have a companion bill. It'll have to get out of the house for anything.
Oh,
for
man.
us to
Yeah,
do
okay.
anything.
Yeah, it made sense.
If you want to introduce the companion bill, Jesse.
See, we're making magic happen here. All right. Well, thanks so much, David. Now, Representative Sorensen.
Yes, sir.
Which I know you've got a little sliver of Dallas.